Okay, so let me start off by saying this. I am in no way making fun of mental illness or anybody who suffers from illness. I am telling a story from my life, and I think that it can help somebody, and also like to pinpoint the signs and symptoms of mental illness. And the mental illness that I'm talking about today is bipolar. So I am not a professional um, at all, in no way on bipolar. I only know what I've been through with someone. So yeah, this is a story in my life. So let me start by saying that this story happened about 20 years ago. So I believe I was 19, and I decided to get on a chat line. And no, like chat lines are non-existent to today. But if you was compared a line to what would be happening today, it's like being on a dating site basically. So I got on a chat line and I met a guy on the chat line. We talked, I want to say about a week, maybe 2 weeks on the phone. I exchanged my information on the chat line. I gave him my phone number and we talked for about 2 weeks over the phone, like nonstop. Like, 19, he was 31. So that was like a real big red flag that I should have took heed to. But when I was 19, my mind worked a lot differently. So we talked for like a couple weeks, I believe, and I think like the third week or the fourth week coming up that we would have been talking. Mother's Day was coming up, so I was a mom. I had two children at the time. My children were, I think my oldest son, he was two, I believe, two. And my youngest son, he was still a baby. He was about 8 or 9 months. So yeah, like freshly new mother. I mean, well, freshly just had a baby, probably 8, 9 months prior. So I was a single mom of two kids or whatever. So I talked to him and we talked like all the time, all the time. So I was very intrigued by him. Um, he was older. He told me that he lived in a county of Maryland, and I live in the city. I live in the city, and he lived in the county. So I was very intrigued by the area he told me that he lived in. He was very with me from the beginning, but I I overlooked like a lot of things that he said, thinking that it was that bad. Hi, Tag. How are you? I'm just telling the story time in my life. Um, how are you today? I'm glad that you are here. Please make sure that you like the live. So yeah, he was very honest from the beginning. He told me he had an apartment in the county. And he also told me that he got Social Security. Red flag number two. So when we talked about the Social Security, he told me that he got Social Security because he played like something is wrong with him. So I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm 19. Now that I am 42, I understand how Social Security works. Like you will not get Social Security. I think it's SSI and SSDI, something like that. But you will not get Social Security benefits like as a young person or whatever, if unless something is actually wrong with you. Because the process that you have to go through to prove that you something is wrong with you is horrendous. Now at 42, I understand that. At 19, I didn't understand that. So he said, "Oh, well, I act like something is wrong with me. I kind of like play the system, and I get Social Security." Told me also that he got food stamps, and I was like, "Okay, that's cool or whatever." And he also told me that his apartment where he was located at, which I thought was so great, because like I said, I lived in the city. He also told me that his apartment, he had Section 8 or whatever. And that was really cool because up until that point, I never knew a guy that had Section 8. I knew tons of females that had Section 8, but I never knew a guy that had Section 8. So that was like, okay, okay, that's cool. You know, you got your own place. And at the time, I was staying with my mom. I've told this story time already. I had left my I had an apartment, and things didn't work out with the apartment because I had the apartment with my son's dad, the baby, the 8 month old or whatever. I had an apartment with him, and it didn't work out or whatever. We broke up, and eventually I got evicted. So once I got evicted, I moved back in with my mom. So I was living with my mom. So him telling me that he had his own apartment in a county in Maryland, I was very excited about that. Like, I thought that was very cool. I had never, at that point, I knew like a few guys, but I never knew like I can say I ain't know anybody at that time that didn't have their own place, but it was just really rare. It was really rare. And the fact that he had Section 8, I was like, okay, that's cool. So we planned to spend the weekend together. The first weekend that, I met him, we planned to spend the weekend together. So I loaded up me and my babies, and I was going to his house. And before I got to get to his house, me and my mom had a big argument. I mean, we had a very big argument. And looking back at it now, it's like being a mom. I understand, but back then I was 19, like I couldn't understand. So I told my mother, I'm like, well, I'm going over this guy house. I'm taking the babies and I'm going over this guy house. I met this guy on the chat line. And my mother was like, "Oh, you're not taking my grandbabies nowhere. Like you isn't taking my grandbabies nowhere." So we had a very big argument. I mean, it was a very huge argument. And when I was 19, my thinking was a lot different. I couldn't understand like she trying to she hating on me. I mean, hating on me was not a phrase then, but that's what I was thinking. Like she hating on me. I'm young, like you know what I'm saying? I'm out here doing my thing. Like, I mean, she trying to stop. You know what I'm saying? What I'm doing for real. I finally found somebody that really want to be with me. So like I don't know what she's talking about. Like why would like I'm going to take my babies with me. So she had told me like, and it was Mother's Day weekend. So she had told me like basically if I was to leave with my babies, with her grandbabies, that I was not allowed back in her house. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I went, I packed up me and babies, and I went over to his house for the weekend. So the whole weekend, I remember that Friday. There's so many red flags. So red flag number, I don't even know what number we on yet, and we just starting to get to know each other. Um, so I came to his house, and although he lived in a very good neighborhood, when I walked in the door, it was horrible. It was horrible. Dishes was dishes was stacked up on top of the sink. The couch, you couldn't see the couch. The dining room table, there was papers and everything scattered everywhere. It was stuff all over the floor. It smelled horrible. Like it was crazy. It was a horror scene. But me at 19 is nothing like me at 42. So at 19, I was like, okay, all right, well, I see, you got a mess here. We got some cleaning to do. So the plan was to go to the market. He had food stamps, I had food stamps. go to the market, get some liver, and bring it back to the house, clean up, and cook. That's what we did. That's what we did. It was all good. It was game over. Right. It like exactly like I it should have been game over, but not me. Not me at 19. So we got the house cleaned up. We cleaned up, we ate, and then the next day was Saturday. We was going over his mom house or his adoptive mother because from the story that he told me, and this is another reason why I had these authenticity authenticity. I can't say it. Hey, how you doing? I'm glad you caught my live. Um, but from the story that he told me, and I always had a heart or passion for people who had really sad stories. So the story that he told me is that his mom, he was adopted or whatever. So he didn't really know his mom. So we were going over his adoptive mom's house. That's where we were going at one Saturday or whatever. And I remember like all day, get some water. I'm good, happy to catch a laugh. Thank you for being here, girl. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you could catch me live too. Um, so we went over his adoptive mom house and his brother, which is I guess was his adopted brother, was there. And we was having a good time. We was having a really good time. But I just kept thinking on my head, like, what my mother said. So I talked to him and he was like, well, won't you just stay with me? So I'm like, really? Now it was already taken over by the neighborhood that he neighborhood was just I never, I can't say I never lived in the neighborhood that, but it was a really nice neighborhood. Now, today, it's not as nice as it used to be. Definitely not. But back then, it was a real neighborhood. Although, like, he was very dirty. He had dirty ways. Like, he didn't keep his house up. But I figured, that's fine because I can clean up or whatever. So he said, you could stay with me. He said, yeah, I get Section 8. I wasn't working at the time. I don't think I was working at the time. No, I was not working at the time. He said, yeah, I get Section 8 and food stamps or whatever and everything. You do get a little job, whatever little money you have, you can keep your money. You can take your food stamps and take care of the kids or whatever. Like I don't need nothing from you basically. So I'm like, hey, this is a perfect arrangement right here. Thinking back of it, like now it's just crazy. But yeah, I was thinking at 19, this is the perfect arrangement. Like really, like you would take me and my two babies? Like really? And he was like, yeah, sure, sure. I'm like, all right, okay. I'm moving in with you. So I think I called my mother and told my mother I was coming to get my stuff or whatever. And she was upset. She was very upset. She was so upset that it's so funny now. She was so upset that she reached out to my oldest son father, who she absolutely hated at that time, and she knew that he had a lot of he could get me to do anything, basically. At that time, he could get me to do anything. So he reached out to him and she told him, like, yeah, I took the kids and I moved in with this guy that I met off the chat line. So eventually he reached out to me and the whole big thing or whatever. But ultimately, I was 19. I thought I knew everything. You could not tell me anything. And yeah. So ultimately, I stayed. So everything was cool. It was cool for a little minute until we had our first argument. And it was very explosive. It was very explosive. So I left the milk out or something. Like I'm thinking but it's been 20 years, so my memory is a little fudgy or whatever. But I know it wasn't anything really big. It was like I left the milk out or something. And yelled at me and he screamed at me and he called me stupid. Like, why would you leave the milk out? A lot of curse words I'm not going to use here on my live, but a lot of curse words. Why is he talking to me like this? Like, this is this is crazy. Like, he had never talked to me like that at that point, and like just how he talked to me, like I couldn't believe it. So, oh, and also skipped another part. So I am a Scorpio. It also was a Scorpio. And now, like, I don't think two Scorpios mix well at all. But yeah, so when if you go low with me, I'm gonna go even lower. So he was calling me stupid, saying all types of things about me. So, I told him he was dirty, you can't even keep your clean, like, I was just going off or whatever, and he was going off on me, and he said something like, this my place, you ain't got nothing, like, and I had told him, and I learned from then, I would never tell a guy or a potential mate or whatever everything that you have been through. And because not everything, not every, yeah, a bit, you want to space things out, and some things that you want to talk about, but some things you should not talk about. And he used against me that I told him that I had a place and I got evicted from it, and he used that against me. So I have an alarm going off. These kids and set an alarm, but hopefully that don't do anything to my life. But anyway, so he used that against me. He said, well, I got my own place. Where's yours? You don't have S. So like it made me feel in a way like, wow, like he right. I don't have nothing. You know what I'm saying? This is his place. So eventually, whatever and everything, I remember like after that argument, he came back and he apologized and he was crying, and he was talking about unaliving himself. So I'm like, what? Like so now I'm feeling in a way because I don't know how to take, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to take that. So his adoptive brother, I remember he was coming over or whatever, and I pulled him up. I'm like, we had an argument and he was very upset. And then he started talking about unaliving himself or whatever and everything. So then his adopted brother told me, he was like, well, he told you he had bipolar, right? And I forgot what stage he said. And I'm like, well, he said that something was wrong with, he told me that he was acting as then was wrong with him, but he didn't say that he had bipolar. And the brother said, yeah, he has bipolar. Like I forgot what stage it was, whatever, but he said, yeah, it's very severe to the point where as though like he gets a social security check, but he has money. His brother is like his proxy or whatever. His brother gets his money, and whatever is left over, he'll pay the rent, because when he was getting his own social security check, he was not paying his rent, and the rent wasn't even that much money. So he would take all of his money, whatever money he had, he would take it and buy weed. I knew that he smoked weed. I knew that we talked about that. And at the point when I was 19, I did not smoke weed. I didn't, what I'm saying, do anything. And I didn't smoke weed up until that point, because when I was in school, we had the Scare Straight programs. I don't know what these programs is at today, but they need to bring them back, because every single person that came in there and talked to us, they were a recovering addict, and they always started off their story with, I started smoking weed. And then I wanted to do something bigger and I went to something higher. And every time when I looked at them people, I was thinking to myself, like, y'all got me messed up. I ain't never smoking no weed. Like, I mean, I knew people at that time. I grew up with people that just smoked weed, didn't do anything else, just weed. So, like, I believed it, but then at the same time, it was like, If we is got you looking like this in front of us right now, I don't want no parts of it. So like I didn't judge him because he smoked weed or whatever. That was his thing. So, but yeah, his brother told me like he would take all his money and buy weed and don't pay no bills, don't do nothing. So his brother took over and became proxy to make sure that all the bills got paid, and he would give him what was left over or whatever. So whatever was left over, was it dollars, $20, $30, whatever, he didn't care. He would take it and go get him weed. As long as he had weed, he would be happy. Um, he did not take his medicine. He was prescribed medicine. He did not take his medicine. He felt like that he would medicate him and he didn't need to take medicine. And from the experience that I've seen with him, I will tell you, like, when he did have the weed, he was a good person. He was a good person. But if he ran out of weed, then he became horrible. He became horrible. He he threw so many. He verbally abused me so bad, so bad. Like the things that he said to me, and the biggest thing that stuck in my mind is the fact that he kept telling me, like, "This is mine. You, where's yours at? This is mine. Where's yours?" And he verbally abused me so much to the point where, as though I started thinking, like, I can't do anything without him because he got a place. I don't have no place of my own. Like I can't think without him. So this went on for a while. This went on for a while. So I think I did get a job. I got a job or whatever. I think I started working at MCI, which I do have a story time about MCI. If anybody remembers MCI, but MCI, I used to work for them. And when I started working there, I met two females that became friends. So one of them, I have a story about her later on. But yeah, we were all the best of friends or whatever. And one of them, she lived down the street from where I lived at. So it was great. It was great. I had some friends to talk to. So when things was going crazy at home or whatever and everything, I had somebody to talk to. So I really liked, I loved my friends at that time or whatever. So things, the relationship progressed. And one thing that stands out is I remember I was 19 and he was about 31 or whatever. So when I was 19, like my mind was set up a lot differently. And like I said, we were both Scorpios. So another red flag that like I overlooked. So he used to like to be on the computer a lot. So I never thought of it. I'm like, okay, cool. Um, one night I decided, I don't know, I got up to get something to drink or go to the bathroom or something, and I caught him on the computer. Um, how can I say these words without? He was having he was having fun with himself, watching something on the computer. So I said something to him. No, man, I didn't say nothing to him. I went in the room. I went back in the room like I never seen it. And when he came in the room or whatever and everything, I asked him like, what was that all about? Like, I mean, I'm here. Like I'm here. I'm 19. I'm here. I'm here. Why are you on a computer having fun? So like that was a whole big thing or whatever. So I overlooked that or whatever. It was a red flag I should have took heed to. So things started getting like really bad. I remember we had an argument and he said something about at the end of the argument that he wanted me to start paying rent. So I'm like, pay rent? Like, come again? What you mean, pay you rent? Like, yeah, he said pay him. So I'm guessing at this point, like his brother wasn't giving him as much money as he wanted for so he came up with this idea that, I should pay him rent. So, when his brother had came over, we had a conversation and I told him, what he had told me. And his brother was like, well, this is his place. It's in his name. So basically, yeah, you should pay him rent. So I'm like, okay, all right, okay. I'm gonna pay him rent. I'm paying now. I'm paying rent. I'm cleaning up behind you because he didn't clean anything. Um, like, yeah, I'm putting food in the house, but okay, I'm gonna pay you rent. Okay, so time went on or whatever. So I noticed that he was like on the phone a lot. So, I'm over and hearing him talking to females on the phone. So I'm like, okay, so when people tell you how you get them is how you lose them, that is a real statement. That statement is very real. So he was doing the same thing how me, talking to females on the chat line basically. So I remember he stayed out a few nights and everything. So it was very apparent that he was cheating on me. I don't recall me asking him at the time, but like, yeah. So because I had the idea that he was cheating on me and I seen him to females or whatever, um, yeah, at that time I was 19 and you couldn't tell me anything. You couldn't tell me anything. I knew that I was very I'm not gonna say I knew I was very attractive because I had some self-esteem issues. I definitely did that I didn't know I had, but I knew I had it going on. And I knew that men would flock to me. So like when a man flocked my way, um yeah, yeah. So that whole thing started, whatever and everything. I started basically cheating on him, basically, because it was very apparent that he was cheating on me. So I would be on the phone with, what I'm saying, my side guy or whatever. It wasn't called side guy at the time. And he would be on the phone with a female or whatever. We both Scorpios. And this, like, Scorpios do not hide anything. They don't hide anything. Scorpios are going to let you know in your face what is going on. So we both Scorpios. So I would be on the phone with a guy, he would be on the phone with a girl, and the guy would be like, well, where your boyfriend? I'd be like, he right here. The girl would be like, where your girlfriend at? He'd be like, she right here. That's how we was going. We thought we was going. Um, so I remember one of my friends, she knew, what I'm saying, what was going on or whatever and everything. Now, it happened between my friend and my boyfriend at the time, whatever. When I first introduced my friend to my boyfriend, they looked at each other in a way, I don't know, maybe they knew each other before, maybe they met off the chat line before, I don't know, but they exchanged a look between each other. And I seen it look. So, I seen the look, but I tried to like, but they did lock eyes with each other, like they each other. But I overlooked it, like, okay, all right, it's nothing. So, like I said, he out here doing his thing, I'm doing mine or whatever. So I wind up spending the night with the side guy, whatever, and everything. And he was blowing my phone up. He was blowing my phone up, blowing my phone up. So, I call my homegirl to try to get my homegirl to, because that's my girl. That's my friend. If you my friend, you got my back through everything. Like, you going to tell me, like, sis, this ain't right. You shouldn't be doing this, but you won't have my back. So I call my homegirl to corroborate a story so she could tell him the story. And the story was basically, I went to a party with her. I lost my phone or something. I couldn't find. I lost my phone or whatever. I can't remember the story exactly, but it was like I lost my phone or something. So I'm trying to find my phone or something like that. So I'm on a three way. I'm on a three way. I got her. She called him. I'm on a three way. I'm on the phone. This is I knew this girl wasn't my friend. So she said, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm calling because she said my name. Y'all don't she said my name or whatever. I haven't talked about my name yet. But if you've been here long enough, my Instagram is on there, so you know my name. But anyway, she said my name. She said, yeah, she need to tell you that she lost her phone. So I'm on the other end, like, that's not that's not the story we talked about. But okay, all right. So it sounded like he believed the little story, but at this point, I really didn't care. I really didn't care. So, like, all right. So after that, me and her kind of grew apart because it's like, my friend, why would you supposed to have my back? Like, why would you say that? So I stopped being friends with her. Okay. So I'm looking for another job because MCI definitely was not the job for me. Like, I was not making any money. If you've been here before, I told you guys I tried sales. I cannot sell anything because I am too honest. I am a very honest. So when I hear people on the other line talking about my grandson is locked up or whatever and everything, and I need to call him. The MCI spill, what my supervisor would tell me, like, yeah, that and then they was having people was setting up residential people with business lines. So my supervisor would tell me stuff like, yeah, that's perfect. Um, give your grandson your personal 800 number. That way, when he call you from jail, you don't have to worry about calling collect or anything, and you won't get for it. Like, personal people had business lines. Let that sink in. But anyway, it just wasn't the job, and I needed another job or whatever. So I'm leaving. I was leaving the phone number, the house number or whatever for jobs to call me. So I called one day to check the voicemail. You know what I'm saying? What jobs reached out to me. So when I checked the messages, the chick that's no longer my friend is leaving a message. So she said, I can't recall what she said on the voicemail, but I'm like, it's weird because we're not friends no more. So why is she calling the house? So I asked him about it. He was like, I think she called trying to help me get a job or something. So I'm like, what? Like, why would you be trying to why would she do to get a job? Like, okay, that's really weird and strange, but okay, moving on, moving on. So, so I was catching the bus because I was not driving. So I remember getting off the bus one day, and I think I was home. I think I was on the way home. I got home. I left work early. I was coming home early. So I was getting off the bus, and I was waiting for the bus to go around where we lived at or whatever. And I see the chick that's not my friend anymore getting off the bus. So I'm like, so she started walking towards my way. So I'm thinking to myself, like, oh Lord, I do not talk to this girl. Like, why is she coming over here? She come up to me, she like, how you doing? Hey, how you been or whatever. And she was like, yeah, I'm getting married, and she's showing me her ring. I was like, okay. So she was like, and it's not to, she said my boyfriend name. So I'm like, why would I even think that? Like, so I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So in my mind, I'm like, hurry up, bus, because I don't mess with Shorty for real. I don't mess with her. So the bus pulled up, and it was the weirdest thing. My boyfriend was getting off the bus. So when he was getting off the bus, apparently he seen her. Apparently he did not see me. So he started walking in our direction. So when it dawned on him that I was standing next to her, he turned around and went the way. So I'm like, what? I start calling him. So finally he comes over, whatever. So I'm like, what is going on here? Like, what y'all beating up? Like, what is this? So then the chick look at me and say, just because we not friends don't mean that I can't be him. And why can't we all just be friends? Chick, for lack of a better word that I cannot say, like what you thought this was, but it's not that. It's not that. And furthermore, like I don't mess with you no more. What is on? Like, so he like, oh, ain't nothing going on. We just friends. Okay, y'all friends. Be friends. Y'all have each other. At that point, at where I was in my side dude, I did not even care. So, like I said, he had dwindled my self esteem so much with the verbal abuse that I really only believed that I could not do it on my own. So, um, I stayed with him. I stayed with him. Yeah, I know. Right, exactly. I stayed. I still stayed. Um, so like at this point where I was a side dude, I actually started like, and this is why women cannot cheat. Um, Especially like I think I do believe like I had a I'll have conversations with my husband and my brother all the time, and they say like women not cheat because they are emotional. And I did become very emotionally attached. Oh, I don't have much battery. Uh-oh. Finish the story. I did become very emotionally attached to the side where so I really thought like we had I thought he was really in love with me. Um and everybody around me I wish I could say the words. Everybody around me was like he's a mutt. With a S-O-U-T. That's what everybody was telling me. But I really thought like we had really a strong connection, and he really did love me low key or whatever. So at that time when the stuff that I was going through with OD for real and everything, like I didn't even care because like, I had my side guy over here, and I was just like, and the side guy, he was, whew, oh my goodness, just remembering about like how I was back then. Tall, he was like 6'3". My boyfriend at the time or whatever, he was five, like 5'3", something like that or whatever. He was tall, he was light skinned, he the gorgeous like hazel brown eyes or whatever. Like I was when I say like that's where I was at mentally. That's where I was at. But I was still staying with him because I have nowhere to stay. So, all right, let me fast this story out. So, like, it still was going on. It will continue for, I was with him for about 3 years. So, last straw, he was still chatting to the chicks on the chat line, whatever, and everything. And like it was very apparent to both of us that we both was cheating on each other. Like we didn't even care. Was we still sleeping with each other? We was. We really was. Yeah. Um, but it was very apparent that we both was cheating. So, he like we became in a way like we became in like a roommate type of situation for real. Whereas though I was paying him rent, he was talking to whatever females he wanted to talk to. I talked to the side guy or whatever and everything. Like that's how we was carrying it. So we were very cool to the point where as though like we had conversations like talking about people that we was talking to. Like it was very weird, very strange. But I remember one conversation we had. He was like, "Yeah, I'm talking to this chick from Florida." So in my head, I'm like, "Okay, she from Florida." I'm like, "Okay." In my head at that time, I'm like, "Okay, that's cool. You know, she must be tall, skinny, like pretty, like just okay." But so in my head, I did feel some type of way, but I was like at the same time, whatever. So then he was like, yeah, do you have anywhere to go for this again? So I'm like, what you mean? What you mean? Do I have somewhere to go? So he's like, yeah, like, can you leave the house for the weekend? Leave the house. He like, yes, because the girl she's supposed to be coming over this weekend. So I'm like, okay, all right, you know what? What? All right. Okay, okay, dude. I can leave the house for the weekend. That's fine. You asked me to leave the house for the weekend. I can leave the house for the weekend. So I left the house for the weekend. So Friday, I went to the house. Whatever. When I got off, I went to the house, bag together, whatever, and everything. Already talked to my side dude. He was like, "All right, cool," or whatever. So got my bag together, and I was about to leave out the house, and I guess no, when I walked in the door, matter of fact, I walked in the door to get my bags together, whatever. He already had the chick there. She was on my couch. She was sitting on my couch. Um, Now I have no issues with what I'm saying um bigger women. I have no issues at all, like not at all. But at that time when I was 19, my mindset was totally different. So when I seen this big girl on my couch, and I beauty is in the eye is in the eye of the beholder, but I'm really trying to be nice. This chick didn't. She just wasn't. She was anyway. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on. But when I seen her, I was like, oh, go ahead, have a good weekend. So I got my bag and I left. He told her, he told her I was his sister. That was the matter of fact. I think that I told him. Matter of fact, I told him. Oh my god, I told him to tell her that I was his sister. And I guess that was a story that he went along. Because, like I said, mentally, I was checked out. I was checked out mentally. I was already like, so I got my bag. I'm at the side view house. I'm chilling. I'm good. My phone started ringing like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, off the hook, back to back, back to back, back to back, back to back. So I'm like, why is me? Why is he calling me? He got his shorty from Florida. She on the couch, on my couch. Like, why is he calling me? So he calls me, and that particular weekend, um, my kids were with his adoptive brother. And from that, what I'm gonna say is, ladies, we have to be careful who we allow around our children. That is so important. And a mom of boys, I know that we don't think like we don't think in the mind of anything we got boys or whatever, but I'm gonna tell you we have to be careful who we have around our children. That part I will say. Um so when I finally answered the phone, he said that his brother was trying to call me. And I'm like, okay, I didn't see any calls from your brother. So he went on to say that I should have answered the phone. I am a bad mom. Something was going on with my kids, and like I'm horrible. Like I'm a horrible, like I'm a bad mom, basically. That really got to me because anytime anybody said anything about the mother that I am or the mother that I was then, it really gets underneath my skin. So I was enjoying myself. And in that moment, I wasn't like, when he said that, that made me feel away. So I called his brother immediately. I immediately called his brother. And his brother told me that everything was fine, that he didn't call him. He don't know what he's talking about. My kids are fine. My kids are fine. That's what he told me. So, like, from there, I called him back, like, why are you calling me? Like, I talked to your brother. He said it's fine. So why are you calling me? So then he said something about um to come back to the house or something like that. I'm like, I'm not coming nowhere, and I hung up the phone, and that was that. So Sunday, I came home, and I think he was there with her, and what I'm saying, Sunday now, and I guess she was getting ready to leave or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the case was. Um, so he started arguing with me. So I'm not trying to argue with him because like you got this chick here, she think I'm your sister. Like I'm not arguing with you. That was my candle over there. I'm like, what was that noise? All right, so like I'm not arguing with you. Um, so he proceeded to, what did he say to me? He said something about, he started talking about me being a bad mom again. So like that really got to me or whatever. So then I says now, because you making me angry, you getting underneath my skin, and you know what I'm saying, you pushing my buttons. So now I gotta go lower. I gotta come lower. Go lower. That's what I need to do. So I looked and I said, okay, all right, I'm a bad mom, but do she know that I'm your girlfriend? I'm not your sister. So she was like, oh my god, I didn't know that. So once I said that, now, like I said, in this whole relationship, he verbally abused me, but he never put his hands on me. Never. Like he never put his hands on me. I mean, he threatened me at one point to even cut my head off with I think like a saw or a machete or something. Like he even threatened to do that to me. And the person I was then, I was on the phone with my mother and I was like, well, do it then, do it. You know what I'm saying? He even went so far as to do that, but he had never put his hands on me. So once I said that, this man came from across the room, picked me up somehow. I don't even know how he picked me up and threw me on the floor and walked out the house. The girl was on the couch. So I'm on the floor or whatever and everything. So I'm feeling like a little embarrassed, but I'm not. It's not really sinking into me or whatever and everything. So I'm like, you know what? That's why I'm leaving and this and the third. I'm talking now. He going. I'm just talking because the girl there, and I'm feeling embarrassed or whatever. So then she was like, "Oh my god, I didn't know that he had a girlfriend. He didn't tell me that. I'm sorry." And she was like, why do you let him treat you like that? So I was about to say he never put his hands on me. But as before I could even get the words out, it was like he just put his hands on me. He just put his hands on me. So the girl was like, she was sorry. She said that she said that she had a round ticket or something, but he asked her to cash it in to get the money or whatever, and she gave him the money to buy some weed. So she away to get back to Florida or whatever. So here it is, me again. Here it is, me again. I'm like, all right, I'll pay to get back to Florida because he going. He going. He ain't want when the girl shut up and he seen with the girl. He ain't want the girl from that point. Because I already knew we had discussions and I knew what type of female he into, and he wasn't into that girl. He used that girl for her money to get some weed, and he left the house. He left me and her in the house together. He didn't even care. He didn't care how she was going to get back home. He did not care. So I paid for the girl to get back home to Florida. Um, and that time while he was going and everything, I made it up in my head like I gotta go. I gotta go. Like no matter how much I think that I can't do this, no matter how much he done told me like this his and where mine at, I gotta go. Because he put his hands on me. And this is the first time he actually put his hands on me. Like what else would he do to me? What else would he do to me? So I gotta go. So I made it up yet that I was leaving. I did not know how I went to leave. Like everybody, when situations happen, they be like, oh, leave, leave, leave. But what is the plan? How? And I had conversations with God at that time, like, please get me out of this. Please get me out of this. Please get me and my kids. Like, I don't I don't know what to do. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I went to work and I have never been able to sell anything. Like I said, like I was doing horrible at MCI because I wasn't selling anything. And ironically, I hit a big line account, actual business. Thank God. But it was a big line. It was like 36 lines. And if you know anything about the phone service business, you get paid off of lines. You get commission off of each line that you switch over or whatever. So that was a big line account. Like I believe my check was like at that time like $2,000. Now $2,000 ain't nothing, but at that time it was about $2,000. So like that was everything that I needed. So this story actually goes with the story of my first apartment. So I went and filled out the application. Seen the girl, my homegirl from school. I got accepted. I paid my security deposit, first month rent. I had all of that. I paid all of that. Like when they called me and me like when they called me and told me that I was approved and I got accepted, I went and paid everything off of that one check. So I'll never forget it. I told him that I was moving out and he laughed at me, literally. He looked at me and he laughed at me. And he said, "You're not going nowhere." So I said, "I'm moving this weekend. I'm having somebody come and move my couch. I'm moving this weekend." So he laughed. So then I had to, like, because he was getting on my nerves with the laughing. So I had to show him my keys. Like, this is my key. Like, I'm moving. That's it. So when he realized that I was actually moving, he became very apologetic. Um, but yeah, that was it. That was and I moved into the worst apartment I ever lived in. And if you have not seen that story time, go check that story time out. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much for tuning into my live. If you like my live, thank you for liking. I say that to say, listen to what people tell you. If somebody tell you this what's going on, listen to what they say because they are telling the truth. And stop saying like, oh, well, it's not going to be that way. I can change them, or they're not going to do this with me, or whatever have you. Listen to what people say. And also on the other side of the spectrum, if you have bipolar, make sure that you are very honest with people and what's going on with you. And I'm not going to tell you to take the medicine because we don't know what's in these medications because all these medications got side effects. But it might be best. It might be best if you take the medication and stop trying to self medicate with other drugs. Because weed is definitely not it. And yeah, that I think that makes it worse. That makes it worse. So yeah, just be mindful who you involved with. The lesson from this is be mindful which who you get involved with. Listen when people tell you things, and also watch who you have around your children. That's very, very important. Very, very important. That's it, you guys. I'm gonna go. I have somewhere to be. Thank you for tuning into my story time. Make sure that you like the live. I would be interested in all your comments on play of the live. And I'll see you guys in the next. I think the next time I will be live is hopefully this weekend. I'm supposed to do a live with my husband. Have a good day. You too. Thank you for being here, V, so much. Um, but the next live I should be doing is with my husband. I want to dive into why do you cheat, and I want to hear it from a male's perspective. Um, so yeah, we'll see if the live happens. He agreed to do it, but we will see. But I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.